Hey, Tony Jackson here, popping in, a little talk. Now, I made a post on Instagram talking about one of the things I was talking about for me as a man. One of the things I don't understand is how a man could have a child, bring a child into the world with a woman, and then not be there for the child, like not help the child. And I just don't understand that as a man. Like, regardless of what the woman is doing, regardless of who that woman is, regardless of who she becomes based on what she wanted to become or what the man made her become, I just can't fathom in my mind. And it's because I haven't experienced it as well. But I just can't fathom punishing my child because of the relationship between me and the woman, knowing that I got down there in that bed to help make that child on my own cognizance, and that child didn't ask for anything, and the child is here against his or her, will or what have you. And I was just talking about how I can't understand that. And then I knew it would be a whole bunch of comments that's like, oh, it go both ways, oh, it's the other way. And then I see this thing. A young lady, she wrote me, and she said, "Well, what about?" She said, "Well, what about when the man was an amazing dad, and then until he got a girlfriend, and then he changed when he got a girlfriend because the woman tried to, mess up the situation, and then the dad would try to say, this is just temporary. This girlfriend isn't going to always be here. Don't worry about it." And then he stays with her. And then when the young lady got like 15, the woman, the stepmom, was being, verbally and emotionally abusive. And then the dad started to join in. And then the young lady moved out and haven't spoke to him since she was 15. And so that kind of painted the picture of this woman being jealous of the dad's relationship with his daughter and coming in between that. And then it was women in the comments. I turned the comments off just because it just get too toxic, and people be going through a lot of stuff, and people be and just hearing too many voices. My thing is to my post was about those people. If you the man and you doing this, let this sit with you. If you the woman and you doing this, let this sit with you. But then sometimes when it too many voices in the comments and everybody bringing a trauma, everybody bringing a pain, everybody making it about them and their personal experience, and because it's in their arena but it's not addressing them, they find fault with the post when it's not even about them. And it's like, okay, it's not about you. And so I just turn the comments off so the people who is for can sit with it and without all the extra noise. But it was women, one lady, she's saying she's a stepmom in the situation, and that her man pays child support and is helping financially with his child, but that the woman won't let him see his child because of she doesn't like the new woman. And is that possible? Yes, it is possible. But at the same time, with the stepmom, she called herself stepmom, so I'm using her terminology. With the stepmom, she doesn't know what all that man could have put the woman through. And why. And then so it was a bunch of women saying no woman will keep their child away from the man. And I could think about situations of, women keeping the child away from the man. But in the situation that I could think of, it's not about. Now in some situations, the woman is upset about the new woman. And it ain't as much as don't like the new woman as not knowing her and not knowing her intentions. And just how the young lady who wrote me, which this was a white female, which was, interesting for me because a lot of times we just put this stuff on minorities and just think minorities are the only people going through this. But it was a white female who wrote me about her dad's new girlfriend doing her wrong, mistreating her, and then her dad eventually taking the side of the woman. So that can happen. So it's a rightfully so if a man who has cheated on, like I think about one of my homeboys, his woman for a little while wasn't letting him see his kids, but because he got in a new relationship and he didn't understand why. And it's like, okay, for one, if you marry her and you made her a promise that you're going to be there with her for all of your life, and then you cheat on her and you lie to her, she's going to be upset. And she's not going to trust your judgment as a man in finding a new woman if she love herself and you don't think she's good enough. And so she's not going to trust your judgment with this new woman because she don't know what the new woman going to be doing to her children. And so it took a little while. And then after a few months, she opened up and now he could see his kids and they could come over, they could stay the night, all that. He in a new relationship. And another situation I know of where the guy cannot see his child, but he was very, very, very toxic to the woman and to the child, and would be mad with the woman and then would hurt the child with and be on speakerphone with the woman. And so I've heard a story like that. And so when you see this stuff, it's like everybody has their own story. But my point on this right here is don't be that person. Meaning, don't be the problem. Don't be the problem. Like, make sure, like, you're going to have people in your life who are a problem. Let everybody else be the problem but you. Like, this is not about pointing the blame at nobody else. Any and every post that we see, post, video, whatever, does it relate to me? Do I need to work on this? Is this something that I do wrong? I can't worry about nobody else. I can't spin it. I can't twist it. I can't put it on nobody. Do I do wrong? And if I do wrong, then I need to confront myself with this. If I'm not doing this and this doesn't apply to me, then let me keep going about my business and let the person that is for, let it be for them. Instead of yelling because my pinky toe was stepped on, because it kind of relate, but not my whole foot stepped on. You see what I mean? So this is the thing. And, with men, we see the toxicity with men. And men got to do better. As a man, what I'm going to tell y'all, stop worrying about your baby mama and what she got going on. And at the least, if she put you on child support, just pay your child support. Pay your child support. But as a man, if you know that the court kind of cut you a deal and you can afford more than what's in that child support, when you pay that child support, you don't know what she's going to use the money for, because it may go towards rent. It may go towards car note. It may go towards school tuition. It got to go to whatever she need to keep that roof over your child's head, because she with your child 24/7, other than if you have your child and if you don't get to have your child. So if you pay your child support as a man and you can afford that, if that's all you can afford, okay, that's all you can afford. If you could do more, get your child's shoe size, get their shirt size, get their pants size, and just send a box of stuff in addition. Like, you ain't got to send cash money if you don't want to send cash money. But this is about you and your child. This about you and your child. This ain't about you and her. So at the end of the day, you want your child to get to 18 years old and be able to come sit with you as an adult and be able to say, hey, I seen how my mama was. I seen how y'all relationship was. I seen how it was toxic. I seen the stuff she did. I seen the person I know her all too well. She abused me sometimes, slapped me in my mouth, cursed me out, took her pain out on me. This is what your child may be saying. If your woman is such a bad woman, like you say, your child gonna experience that if she that. But your child need to see that you as a man, you was there for them. That you was there for them and you did what you could do. And then whatever she didn't do, that's between her and God. It's a hot place in the devil household for her. If she squandered the help that you sent. If as a man, you sent money and she went and bought new heels and she went and bought birthday gift for her boyfriend out the money you sent him for your child, she gonna answer for that. But guess what? If I was a man in that situation, I will have to be emotionally intelligent, remove my feelings, remove the anger, and I'm taking care of my child. I'm sending to my child. And ain't nobody gonna turn down no money now. Ain't nobody gonna turn down no money. Ain't nobody gonna turn down nothing. Like, I'm gonna get my child shoe size and I'm sending a pair of shoes. I'm sending shoes. Every month, I'm going to send a new pair of shoes. $80, $50, $100, whatever you can afford. Every month, I'm sending my child a new pair of shoes if I'm that man. If my child wear uniforms, I'm finding out. I'm going to the school district. I'm going to the area. I'm looking online to see what I'm calling the school, find out where you buy your uniforms from. I'm getting my child size. If she won't give it to me, I'm guessing it. I'm looking at somebody else, another child that's the same size, and I'm asking they mama or daddy, hey, what size do your child wear? Because my son or my daughter is the same exact size in build, but my baby mama won't tell me what size the child wear. Like, whatever issues she got, as men, as a man, you got to stop making excuses. You got to stop making excuses. You got to stop feeling sorry for yourself. You got to stop doing that and hurting your child, because you, as a man, you chose her. You chose her. I was talking to a young man the other day, and he said he chose the wrong woman to have kids with. And he said, he was mad with at one point, but then he came into the understanding that was my choice. That's how I was living. And so as a man, that's what I like. Like, we have to accept responsibility for what we do. We got to accept responsibility for what we do. And to the women, same thing. You got to accept responsibility. You got to accept responsibility for your life and for your choices. If your man is a deadbeat, no good, sorry man, guess what? That is the man that you chose to sleep with. That is the man that you did not thoroughly vet. That is the man that your mama and daddy warned you about and you ignored. That is the man that your best friend warned you about and you ignored. Guess what? You made the choice. You have freedom of choice. Deal with the consequences. As adults, we cannot walk around moping and complaining, feeling sorry for ourselves for the choices we have made. For the choices we have made. We cannot walk around feeling sorry for ourselves. You got to look yourself in the mirror and ask yourself, what do I need to do? Who do I need to be? What do I need to become? I can't worry about Sally, Jane, and Sue. I can't worry about Tom, Dick, and Harry. I got to worry about me. Who do I need to become? What do I need to change? Where do I need to grow? I can't sit here and have no pity party for myself, crying about what I don't have and how people treating me. That's not gonna change anything. I got to man up, woman up, look in the mirror, and do what I got to do. And this is what we have to realize as parents. Those children are 100% yours. If you're a woman, you cannot see your children as 50% yours. Do what you got to do to provide 100% for your kids. If you are a man, you cannot see your children as 50% yours. Do 100% of what you have to do to provide for your kids, so your kids have above and beyond. It shouldn't be 50-50 coming together for 100. It need to be 100-100 coming together for 200. Your kids got more than enough love, more than enough clothes, more than enough food, because y'all doing what y'all got to do. If the only thing was available to me was robbing and selling drugs, then that's what I'd be doing. But that's a lie from the pit. So that's why I'm not doing that, because there's other things for me to do. Yesterday, let me tell you, my sons go to a private school. And yesterday I just cut a check for $16,560 some dollars, which was the other half of their tuition. That was a big check that I had to cut. And guess what? I had to earn the money to pay that. And you know why I did that? Because we don't have a good school system in our public schools. Do you know my second grader? His friend cannot go to his school anymore because his mother cannot afford it. And I feel terrible. And his friend, mama, called my wife and said, I'm trying to get him back into that school, because my son is in public school now. And he came home and he asked me, Mom, what does it mean when my friends are talking about masturbation? He is in the second grade. My second grader ain't never said nothing like that, because it's a different environment. It's a different environment. You know why it's a different environment? And this is what I feel bad for y'all. I feel extremely horrible for you when your life is in a place to where you building and you grinding and you trying and you want better, but you can't have better in this moment. I'm gonna tell you, do everything you can. When we was in that place, because this what happens, and I grew up around this, so I know exactly what this here is. But so when a mom is working 2-3 jobs to feed her children, unfortunately her children are home alone. And so with the children being home alone, they're being raised by YouTube. They're being raised by the television. And then if they have older siblings who are 12, 13, 14 in public school, a lot of these kids are in public school because their parents cannot afford private school. The purpose of a private school was created by white people to have and white people of affluence, to separate themselves from what they call white trash and what they call niggers. So to separate themselves from lesser having whites, Hispanics, and blacks, they created private schools. They never intended for people of color to be able to afford $30,000 a year for a private school. But now some of us can. When I tell you the education in the private school, like a real private school, that it costs you like 10,000 or more a year, the education is completely different. The education is completely different. That is why these men, if you notice, like the Elon Musk of the world, the Jeff Bezos of the world, the Bill Gates of the world, they don't come from poverty. They learned how to code at 8 years old. That costs money. That comes from education. So that's why they was able to drop out their freshman year at Yale or Harvard, like Mark Zuckerberg. It's like, you at Harvard, you don't come from poverty, but you learn so much in a private school. And this ain't an arguing debate about the difference between public and private. I'm telling you the facts. I'm telling you the facts. These facts. My 9th grade son is doing college freshman and college sophomore work. His public school friends, what they are doing in, y'all got to forgive me now, a little gnat in here. What they are doing in the 9th grade in public school, my son did that work in 6th and 7th grade. I'm not telling you no lie. The work that my 2nd grader is doing, he was talking to another 2nd grader who go to public school, and that 2nd grader asked my son, yeah, Tatum, what are you working on? And then Tatum say, this is my youngest, he said, we're regrouping in the hundreds. When my son came to me, I didn't know what regrouping meant. When he showed me, I said, oh, you mean carrying the one. I didn't even know what regrouping was. You hear what I'm trying to tell you? When my oldest son when my son was in, I think, the 1st grade, my oldest son was in the 1st grade, I went through high school and I went to college. A junior Ivy League is what they called it. And then to a Division I college, University of South Florida. When my son brought me his work in the 1st grade, do you know I helped him with his homework and he took that work in and he got a D? That's the difference between my education and his education. So my son talk about stuff I ain't never heard of in the work they doing. My 9th grade son, his math work, I can't begin to do that work. You hear what I'm telling you? So they created this over here to separate themselves, and they never anticipated minorities getting in there. But guess what? So when my son was in a daycare, and he's in this daycare, the issue is parents have to work. So when you have to work, and this is this is not the parents' fault that they slept with somebody that it didn't work out with. It just not having the knowledge, not knowing how to recognize red flags, not knowing what love is, not knowing how to carry yourself in dating. It's just a lack of knowledge. So you get with somebody who is a degenerate, who is a deviant, and you sleep with this man who is a drug dealer, he's abusive, he's a liar, he's a manipulator, he's a cheater. You sleep with him, you get pregnant from him, and then y'all don't work out, and then he's not helping with the kids, so now you got to work 60 hours a week just to make things happen. And so, but when you working them 60 hours a week, your child at home or with a nanny or with somebody, and they learning stuff that you would never condone them learning. And so it's a lot of mothers who they got to leave a child with somebody or put them in somebody's care, and that child is getting information that the mother would have never wanted their child to get, but you can't control everything. So my son in this school, in this little daycare, we go out to eat one day. My wife tell him something like, T, don't do that. And he like, and we look at each other. My wife tell me the story, I don't even remember it. And we look at each other and like, oh no, he got to get out of that school. So my wife went to a Christian school, a Christian private school. And she went in there, and this is what I'm telling you about us not making excuses. She didn't say, I can't afford nothing else, so I'm going to leave my child in this hood school where all the kids is raising themselves because of how much their parents got to work, or because their parents on drugs, or because their parents, doing this or doing that. Because it's a lot of kids who their dad is a full-time drug dealer. Their mom is a stripper. Or their mom is a drug addict. Their dad is a drug addict. So the knowledge that those kids getting. So when I went to my cousin's house, his daddy had pornos. So when his parents in the summer, when his mom and daddy working, we go to the cabinet, get a porno out. He pull out an Arnold. He pop that in VHS. We sitting there watching the Get Down. My cousin, my other cousin, girl cousin. This the first one was a boy cousin. My girl cousin, her mama, started drinking, living her life. She started dating women. So when she would be gone, we would be at her house, and up under the bed was a bunch of nasty magazines. We get up under the bed, we get the magazines, and at 9 years old, I learned as a man, as a 9-year-old boy, I learned how to give oral to a girl. As a 9-year-old boy, I learned how to give oral to a girl at 9 years old, because my cousin was raising herself because of the way her mama lived. But because my mama and daddy had to work, they would drop me off at my cousin's house. But my cousin mama was not responsible either. So now my parents leaving me with my grandma or my mama's sister, and they're not responsible. So I'm learning all kind of stuff. My sister learning all kind of stuff. So I lose my virginity at 15. My sister lose hers around that same time. When she around 14, 15, she get pregnant at 16. You see what I'm saying? Because kids raising themselves. And so when my wife saw that my son is getting lessons that we're not teaching him, she said, I got to get him in a different environment. And so the understanding was, and this ain't foolproof now, it's still stuff going on in private schools. Everything still go on. It just go on to a lesser degree. It's still drugs in private school. It's still cursing in private school. It's still sex in private school. It's just a much lesser degree. So it may be drugs, but it's a nickel bag, not a quarter pound. It may be drugs, but it's a nickel bag, dime bag with a few pills or some vapes, but it ain't a semi-automatic gun in the backpack. And you see what I'm saying? Because it's to a lesser degree. Because public school kids go to private school and then want to be cool. That's what happened at my private school. In 10th grade, I went for sports. But when other people came that I knew from public school, they started stealing. So at the public school, it was all rich white kids. So the rich white kids, they would take off their backpack and sit it on the ground, and they would have they little line of cocaine in there. They'll have $200 in there. They'll have a laptop in there. They'll have a purse in there if it's a girl backpack. But when we came from public school, see me, I was raised right, so I wasn't doing nothing. But when other people came from public school, we clicked up. And I remember why one homeboy, he liked to steal. So he had done stole all of the rich girls. They had Fossil watches. You know, Fossil watch was like $100 plus, even back then. My homeboy had done stole 16 Fossil watches. His mama had a Fossil. His sister had a Fossil. My mama had a Fossil. My sister had a Fossil. His grandma had a Fossil. His auntie had a Fossil. Everybody had a Fossil watch because the rich girls, they were on the dance team and the cheerleading team. So they would go into the gym for practice and they would take their Fossil watch off and sit it on the table. They got so much money. They live in 4,000, 5,000 square foot houses. They got so much money, they would leave a Fossil watch on the table and forget it was there. We come in for basketball practice, it's watches and laptops. So we had one guy from Newark, New Jersey. You from Newark and you ain't from the good part of Newark. You come down here and this laptop's laying around, everything's stolen. Another guy from Harlem. He actually didn't really steal like that though, because he wanted to acclimate into that society. So he didn't want to be the ghetto person. So he actually didn't really steal. Now, if something got stole, he was going to accept it. And same thing with me. I didn't really steal because I didn't steal, but if something got stolen and they come giving me a Fossil, oh, thank you, appreciate it. Hey. Now, one time I did steal me a wallet. This wallet belonged to like a 6th grader. Do you know when I picked up this wallet, that boy had $200 in his wallet. That's how much money these people had. So when they say, there goes the neighborhood, that's what they talking about. That's a reality. That is a reality. We might not want to admit it as minorities who come from nothing, that our environment can create savagery, can create hunger games. And then when we go into a land of famine, we don't know how to act. And when they like, whoa, hold on. We have this every day. Like, this normal over here, bro. Like, you don't have to eat like that. Like, it's going to be food every day. You good. Calm down. Like, we don't realize that sometimes. So guess what? We will take and we'll make excuses for ourselves because of our upbringing, because of our, y'all see I be having these hats on, my hairline ain't right. Got all kind of hats for you. And so our upbringing and we'll remain the same. So a man, he'll sit here and say, well, I'm from the hood, I'm from nothing. My daddy wasn't there for me, so my child ain't missing nothing. I ain't had that, and look how I turned out. Yeah, you turned out like a bum, like a degenerate. Why you gonna do the same thing to your child just because your daddy wasn't there? It's like, come on now. Same thing with some women. I ain't had nothing. I raised myself. I was sleeping with men for money at 13, and look how I turned out. Yeah, look how you turned out. It's like, come on now. So what my wife did, this was her. And this was her idea. She went to the private school and she told them, like, listen, I need my kids in a Christian school. She was in school trying to get her master's degree. And at that time, I think it was probably for my son age group, he was 3 years old. He flicking us off at 2 years old. What we talking about? He flicking us off at 2 years old or pointing the gun or something. So like, So preschool 3 is at this private school that we at. They actually start at 6 months. So it probably was $8,000 a year. Now, there were some daycares that people talking about they paying $1,000 a week, $600 a week. So this right here, 10 months. So that's $800 a month. You divide it by 4, that's $200 a week. So when we look at that, we like, hold on. So $800 a month, it's daycares that cost that. That's not teaching nothing. That the kids literally just playing all day. But here at this school, you wear a uniform, you do Spanish class, you do music class, you do art class, you do reading class, you do writing class. Like, you got a curriculum, you got structure, and it's teaching you how to behave in a classroom setting from the age of 1 or 2 at this school. My oldest son started at 3. $800 a month, we could not afford that. We could not afford that, because when he 3 years old, that mean I'm 26. That mean I was making $9.50 an hour. We could not afford that. So my wife can't afford that. Can't afford that. They come back, hey, can you do this right here? Can't afford that. Can you do this right here? Can't afford that. Can you do this right here? Can't afford that. I ain't supposed to be telling this story, but I'm gonna tell this story so you understand. The school can't do this no more, but this is what this school did for us. From $800 a month, they let us in for $175 a month. $175 for our son to be able to go to this here school. From the time school get in to the time school get out. They could stay there all the way to 6 p.m. if you need them to, because they got what you call extended day. And they let extended day be $5. So you looking 5 times 5, that's $25 a week. So that's another 100 if you do extended day. So we would have been at $275 a month. $275 a month. Her mom was working at that time. And her mom told her, I'll go half with you. So her mom went half with us until she lost a job. But we paid the tuition. We never was late. We never missed it. We sacrificed. Even paying half, $100 and some a month, was breaking us. We could not afford it. But guess what that did? It was a total different environment for our son. So instead of making excuses about our situation, we went to find a solution. And we found the solution. And so now, yeah, everybody can't go to private school because they fill up. They're going to fill up. But you know what they'll do? They'll create other ones. They'll create different ones. You might be the person that find one. And the purpose of the private school, and I know people get mad about it, but is to get a better education because of the origin of the reason why the school was created. So the kids who had been in private school, they whole life, when it was time to take the SATs, these kids, my friends, got 1,100 with no studying. If they studied, they got a 1,300 or a 1,400 on the SAT. I had one friend at the school who got it was out of 1,600. He got a 1,560. He went to Harvard. He got a 1,560. And he had been in that private school that I went to in 10th grade. He had been there his whole life from kindergarten. They teach them more because they raising them to take over America. They raising them. Now, yes, we have us 1 or 2 that come out of the public school and make it because the mama said, I can't afford no private school and I don't want you around them kind of people, but I'm finna teach you. I'm finna have you reading books. I'm finna have you studying. I'm finna do this. But everybody can't do that because that mama had the knowledge or that daddy had the knowledge themselves to be able to teach their child that. Everybody don't have that knowledge. So these kids at this private school, that's actually teaching. Some private schools are set up just to be like a daycare or pacifier place, and it so you got to actually study the school and look at their curriculum and know what you're getting into. Because some schools, it ain't real school. It's a private school and you paying $20,000 a year, but your kids ain't learning nothing. Because I just went to a private school and working at the private school as a life coach, and them kids was leaving that private school to go to community college. I'm like, so you mean to tell me your mama and daddy done spent $300,000 minimum for your grade school, and you about to go to the community college? That ain't what they made that investment for. But you know what? Them kids was spoiled. Those that was going to community college, it wasn't because they wasn't smart enough. It's just because they were so spoiled. Their parents abused their money and would give them $10 instead of 10 minutes. And so this is the thing. So what I need you to understand is problems on both sides. But guess what? Their grandfather started a multi-million-dollar company that was passed down to the son. And then from that son, he finna pass it down to his son. So the boys I'm mentoring, they finna go to community college because they not motivated by school, because they have generational wealth. So they don't need school because their grandfather or their great grandfather started the company that they're gonna take over. And it's a blue collar company, not a white collar company. So it's a company that deals with agriculture or shipping, logistics, moving stuff. It's not a law office that they need to go become a lawyer. The ones who it's a law office, their father instills education and study skills because he or she has to become a lawyer to take over the family law practice. Like Morgan and Morgan that you see with all these commercials, and now we see his son in there. Now his son in the commercial. He made sure you finna take your butt to school, because I don't got a lawn care company that you could do without even a GED. I got a legal company and we boss balling, so your butt going to school. So you see what I'm saying? They'll teach what they need to teach. No excuses made. So I got friends who is in billion-dollar families, but in order to run that business one day, they need a master's degree. So although they may have a whole lot of issues mentally or emotionally or socially, they gonna go get that education so that they could take over the family business or have the knowledge they need to operate at a high level. So listen to me. We have to stop making excuses for ourselves, and we got to do what we got to do. I'm finna be the spook that sat beside the door. My sons may do something entrepreneurial that doesn't require their degree at all, but I'm gonna have them get as much education as they can get, as long as it makes sense for who they are and where they going and what they want to do. You're gonna go get your education, because I don't want nobody to have something you ain't got, and I want you to have more than I got, because everybody can't do what I do. That's what I understand right there. Like, God graced me, he favored me, he blessed me. And I know I know it's God, because I didn't have the schooling to have the business structure that I have. And I'm teaching other people how to build a business the way I built a business. So for me to be able to do this, I know it's God divine, God inspired. I know it's a God gifting. I know it's a purpose. So my son, my 14-year-old son, don't work nothing like mine. His mind worked the complete opposite. Just like his mind worked like his mama mind. They're not, if you remove school, I would be the one who is enterprising in the village. I will be the one who is creating some type of stream, some type of business, some type of ecosystem. And they will be the ones that, if you give them a job, they gonna do it 15 out of 10. Not 10 out of 10, they do it 15 out of 10. If you give me a job, I'm gonna do it 5 out of 10. But what I'm gonna do is come create me a job that I could do 5 out of 10, but it produce 15 out of 10. You see what I'm saying? That's how different people's mind work. So you got to understand where your issues lie. Now, this started talking about parenting and all that right there. We went somewhere totally different because this is a whole roundabout message. Or stop making excuses. And so look, when I seen this right here, I see my son at this school. I cannot honestly tell you, I'm a believer now in private school. And I know you may not agree. And I don't care how you feel about it. To be honest with you, because I get to see it. I get to see the difference between my son's behavior and public school kids' behavior. Between my son's vocabulary and public school kids' vocabulary. Look at my vocabulary, public school. I get to see the difference between their education and public school education. So I'm like, listen, although we had to kick that door down to get in there, I'm glad we took that chance instead of just staying in the hood we was in and saying this all available to me. And so I had breakfast with the principal of my son's school. He said they do about $1 million plus a year in financial aid on top of the other aid that is given from the state. So look at this. If my son tuition is like, my oldest son tuition is $17,000. My youngest son tuition is $13,000. So if you take $1 million and divide it by 17, what do you get? You see what I'm saying? That's a lot of kids. That's your child. If your child getting bullied and picked on in public school, if your child in a class with 40 kids, 30 kids, if your child is an introvert, got a special learning type of ability, like they learn differently, my son had really bad eczema. His skin looked like he had been burned, like a 2nd degree, sometimes 3rd degree burn. When we took him to a public park, everybody would run away. Moms would come grab their son, come here, get away. Because my son looked like a leper to them. In public school, my son would have got chewed alive. He would have got chewed alive because it's kids raising themselves. In a lot of cases, not all of them, but it don't take all of them. It just take one ringleader to be a complete savage, and he gonna bully the whole classroom, and he gonna turn the whole classroom into Satan household. But at my son private school, he never once got bullied. He would have to miss 3 days out of the 5 days a week due to his health. And I remember this boy saying at home, "Mommy, don't cry. My friends are at school praying for me." Where you done heard that at? You not finna hear that at no public school. And y'all got to understand, I'm not hating on you in public school because I went to public school. But what I'm trying to show you is on the other side of this here. Now, this is a Christian private school we talking about, to where my sons learn a Bible scripture every week that they have to memorize and recite it for a grade. So they learning the Bible. They learning the word of God. They pray every day. I'm not talking about a private school for rich snobs. I'm talking about a Christian private school where the Bible is taught, where prayer is allowed. This is what I'm talking about. You hear what I'm telling you? It's a difference when Jesus in the room. And so guess what? Any bullying, we take it right to the principal. And that student who is a bully, they get checked. They get detention. They do it again, they kicked out. That don't happen in public school because there ain't nowhere for them to go. You can expel you, then they got the school for bad kids. What I knew about growing up, we had that school too. But bad kids, when you get kicked out of public school, then you got to go to this other hill school. Listen here. Listen here. You got to change your situation. And you got to put the pedal to the metal, and you got to do what you got to do. You got to ask God for provision. You got to ask God for clarity. You got to get out your feelings. You got to get out your stuckness. You got to get out the dumbness. You got to get out the ignorance. You got to get out the childhood trauma. You got to get out of the generational curses. You got to get out of that. And you got to stop fighting in the comments. And you got to stop fighting with messages online. And you got to look yourself in the mirror and say, what changes do I need to make in my life? Who do I need to be and how do I need to grow? What do I need to do? So here I was just like them other people be like, man, spending all that money, going to a private school. Man, you crazy. I ain't finna be doing that, man. That don't even make no sense. And then the kids ain't getting no real life experience. They ain't getting no real life experience. They're going to be sheltered. They're going to be sheltered. They ain't going to know nothing about the real world. But then you realize, yeah, at the private school too, there's drugs in there and dogs had to come and the boy got arrested and got expelled from the school. All right, there go your real world experience. But it's one person instead of 100 people. And one thing you don't have at a private school is gangs. Because that right there ain't coming in there. And if it come in there, they finna kick it out the first day they see it. So now you ain't got to worry about knives and guns being in there. You see what I'm saying? Yeah, them kids like to have them a good little time, and because they got money and because they trying to look and act cool. But that's why I raise my son and I teach my son. I say, son, any one of your friends who vape is stupid. They stupid and they lame. And they trying to act cool. They vaping because they want to be cool. I say, boy, if I ever catch you vaping, you going to lose every tooth in your mouth. I say, I brought you in this world and I'll take you out. I'll take your life, boy, before I let the world take your life. That's how I talk to my son. You ain't got to like it. You ain't got to like it. Because it ain't your son getting killed in the street by the police, unarmed. So I'm going to have my son, he's scared straight. To where he going to know the real about this here world. He going to know. And I'm going to be in his chest. I'm going to be in his chest. Because in this world, it ain't set up for him to win. I wasn't supposed to win. I wasn't supposed to win. And listen, I'm going to live life on another frequency. And I'm going to take chances that most people ain't going to take. Like Nipsey Hussle said, I got his shirt on condone all the message and all that. I just support a black man family who is a visionary. But like he said, he flex dramatic. I'm a flex dramatic. So you know what? These folks finna see me. They finna see me in some foreign. They finna see me in the luxury suite at the arena. They finna see my family courtside, because to be black in America and to make an honest living without selling drugs and without being a music artist or an athlete, you're not supposed to have any type of luxury. If you're not an athlete, if you're not a music artist, or you're not a drug dealer. Because America gave the black race those three options. You either entertain us to become a millionaire, or they just showed 4 black billionaires. Tyler Perry, Jay-Z, Kanye West, Rihanna. All 4 of them in entertainment. Tyler making movies. with a man in a dress. I ain't knocking it, but that's the box he in. Kanye used to be blaspheming Jesus before he started trying to make Christian music, but didn't let Jesus come into his household to save that marriage. So now that marriage going through a divorce. God bless him. I ain't knocking him. I'm just trying to tell you now. Jay-Z got his wife making lemonade out the lemons he gave her. And then Rihanna. And do you know that Rihanna, Jay-Z, and Kanye had a song called Run This Town? Or we run something. Who gonna run this town tonight? Do you know I seen a video on YouTube of that music video they did, and that YouTube video said they had 66 satanic symbols in that video, and all them people was accused of being in the them three was accused of being in the and them three are now billionaires. Come on now, I ain't trying to say nothing. I ain't trying to say the Illuminati real. I ain't trying to say nothing. I'm just saying. I am just saying. You see what I'm saying? Where is our tech billionaire? That's why my oldest son took robotics class. That's why he in the tech program right now. And they creating an invention. That's why my youngest son about to be in Code Ninjas. You know Code Ninjas is a franchise. Do you know in that franchise that they making look cute and cool? The kids in that franchise that's going in there after school is going to be running the world one day. Because you know what they learning how to do in there? They learning how to code. Do you know what coding is? It's how you got YouTube. Do you know what YouTube pay YouTubers? Take my YouTube course and you're going to see what YouTube pay me. I don't put my business out here on Front Street for free. And so take my YouTube course and you're going to see what YouTube paid me last year. And then you're going to look and see that I am nothing on YouTube. And then you're going to realize that it is 1 million YouTubers bigger than me. And this what YouTube paying us. And do you know who coded YouTube? He getting that money. Do you know who founded Google? That's coding. Google is coding. Your kids, you want generational wealth, you need to have your kids in a coding class. If you can't afford Code Ninjas, it's probably called something else in your city. And if it ain't now in your city, guess what? They got online coding lessons. You know what Facebook is? That's coding. Instagram, that's coding. YouTube, that's coding. You see what I'm saying? See, listen. We just worrying about doctors and lawyers. That ain't no power. That ain't no power. Yeah, it's good. That's congratulations. You made it good, but that ain't no power. Coding. This here software. You see what I'm telling you? That's what my son's gonna learn. So that when you want to build you the next Facebook, you got the skill to know how to do it. And guess what? You ain't got to do it. Because it's other people who know how to code, but they're not visionaries. So what my son's finna start doing in the summer, business camp. Every summer, I'm going to take 1 week that they got to create a business. You got to come up with the name. You got to come up with what you selling. I'm giving you the blueprint. I'm giving you the blueprint because I have not arrived yet, but you talking to a billionaire. And don't confuse my confidence with arrogance. Don't let your insecurity confuse my confidence with arrogance. Because see, they don't like a black man to talk like this. They want, yes, about, but they what tell you, what you need me to do? Oh, I can fish your air condition. Yeah, I can fish your air condition. Now, ain't nothing wrong with those trades and all of that, but we got to start getting in power positions. We got to start getting in power positions. That's why what I'm talking to you about is coming at the 59-minute mark. Guess what? The haters ain't getting this far. The people that this ain't for ain't getting here. They clicked off after 3 minutes. This a coded language. This right here for the people that you trying to get generational wealth. You trying to change the lineage. Let me tell you, the first thing you got to do, stop feeling sorry for yourself. That's the first thing you got to do. Let me tell you the next thing you got to do. Stop complaining. Let me tell you the next thing you got to do. Get on Google and find a solution. Go to work. Find a solution. I come from $20,000 a year working as a grown man. $20,000 a year to doing what I'm doing now. My wife told me, Tony, stop talking numbers because we writing off. We need write-offs. So don't have the IRS thinking you getting this and you getting that now, because our business is a write-off too now. Hey, so listen. So you just could just gather what you think I'm doing today. But I come from $20,000 a year on somebody's job. Listen here, if I could do it, you could do it. You know who was my consultant? Google. You know who was my mentor? Google. You know who was my life coach? Google. You know who was my assistant? Google. I Googled how to publish a book, and I published the book. I Googled what's the best time to post on social media. I Googled, and I Googled. People writing in and people got their hands tied. I need to learn how to do this. How do I do this? Google it. There are people making six figures writing blogs, giving you the whole game. They giving you the whole game. Listen, all the information to take your life to the next level is out there. But as long as you crying out to the Lord, you're going to stay where you at. Because God tell you in his word, study the ant. What God say, the ant don't stop working. Why you think he tell you to study the ant? He said that little 8 hours you doing on that job ain't enough. That little 8 hours you doing on your job ain't enough. You better come home, cook that dinner, feed them kids, put them kids in bed, and then go to work again for you. Go to work for you. Don't just go, I'm drained, I'm tired. You know what I had to do? I worked 40 hours for them people, then I worked 40 hours for me. I ain't even count the hours I worked for me. I could have been working 60 hours. And that's still 100 hours. We got 168 hours a week. Do you hear me? On my last year of my job, I made $40,000, $36,000 to be exact, in my personal business. And my job paid me $20,000. I doubled my job's income working on me. I balanced the dream with the job until the dream became the job. Listen to what I'm telling you. I was doing the work. But see, God knew that me being a husband and a father, that I was not built to leave a steady paycheck to be an entrepreneur, knowing that I had to feed my wife and son. So God sent me an angel investor to fund me and float me so that it would give me what I needed so that I didn't have to walk by faith. Because God knew I ain't have that much faith. I ain't have that kind of faith because I couldn't afford faith with a wife and a son because I chose to have sex and to get married. So because I chose that, see, if I was by myself, I would have been left that job because I could eat air. I could live on the dollar menu. I could have stayed in the student apartment where I was for $400 a month. So my $40,000 I was making in my business, I would have been straight. I would have been straight because my bills would have been $1,000 a month. That's $12,000 a year. So if I'm touching $40,000, I'm living good until I go up. But see, I couldn't keep my thing in my pants. Got my wife pregnant. Got married. Had a son. So now my responsibility is different. I can't walk out on faith when I got mouths to feed in the physical. I couldn't afford it. So God met me at my knees. He say, I respect that you don't want to quit your job to chase a dream. So I'm going to bring you a reality that's going to help you get closer to that dream. Come on now. That's what God did for his son. You see what I'm saying? He's not doing it if you're not his child. God can't move for you now if your heart ain't positioned for God. I ain't say perfect for God. I say position for God. Understand what I'm telling you. Okay? Hear me what I'm telling you now. And so listen to me now. Listen to me now. I got a haircut at 2. I don't even know what time it is. Y'all got to forgive me. Y'all got to forgive me real quick. Walk with me real quick, cause I will come back. I got to go get a watch a computer, cause I ain't got nothing. And my phone been cutting off on me. I shot a good video yesterday, an hour-long video, and my phone filled up, and so it did not save the video, cause I ain't have no room in my phone. Man, when I tell you I was hot about that, I mean a good video. And BC, I shoot on the videos. I shoot them from the top of the dome. Okay, it's 12 o'clock, so I got to be gone in about an hour and 20. I got a haircut to get today. And so I shoot off top of the dome, so even if I tried to redo the video, I wouldn't say half of what I said, because I'm just letting the spirit flow. So I need you to understand that. And so now listen to me. Okay, now listen to me. So see, God will take and do for you what you need done. And this what I need you to understand. You got to have this. You got to have the faith in, not in yourself, but the faith in God. So that you got to stop making excuses. Because see, this is the thing here. And you got to be diligent. See, a lot of times people don't realize, like, okay, Tony, like my family, they'll look at me and they'll see where I'm at today. But what they don't realize is that I was up working. I'll be up writing a book 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning. A book that ain't gonna make no money. But it was just channeling me. It was getting me in the grind mode. I'll be up marketing. I'm looking around marketing. I'm sending emails everywhere. I'm coming up with strategies. I'm coming up with plans. That's how I created MyMentor.life. This website, the coaches on there, they pay $20 a month. It's sites, now a site like this, and we don't take any of their revenue. So if when you get booked on there, that money go directly to your PayPal account. And so I made it that cheap. Because the other sites, that's like this, they're gonna take 30% of what you make. They're going to take 30% of what you make, and they may charge you to be on there $99 a month, $49 a month. I'm using Zoom. All I'm doing on Zoom is doing videos, and for my plan, they charge me $50 a month. They charge me $50 a month, and they not marketing me to make me no money. They just charging me for using their software. So MyMentor.life, this is software that I could be charging $50 a month, because I'm actually marketing the site and getting the coaches booked. So you see what I'm saying? God gave me this idea. And see what the Lord gonna do for you. He's not just gonna take care of you. He gonna put it the way you could take care of other people. It's coaches on here that's making a full-time coaching salary because of the work God doing through me. Because of the work that God doing through my business. Because I'm marketing the site. The coaches on here not marketing themselves. They not marketing the site. Some are marketing the site, but they not marketing it to tens of thousands, millions of people a month. Guess what? My YouTube channel get, according to YouTube, 1.5 million views a month. That's not a lot of views. But when you watch my YouTube, you seeing this. So that's 1.5 million times this was looked at. Do you know how much that'll cost to market to 1.5 million eyeballs on Facebook? $15,000. So I could take and say, okay, coaches, I could take and say, okay, coaches, I'm giving $15,000 worth of marketing a month just on eyeballs. Now, that ain't counting now. That ain't counting the personal stamp. So every time I say my mentor.life is a $5,000 fee. Because as a brand ambassador with a brand the size of mine, the minimum a company has to pay me to market their company is $5,000. To mention their company in a story on Instagram, $5,000. To mention their company in a YouTube video, $5,000. So if I shoot 30 videos from the house, this thing ain't got no, where my applications at? This thing ain't got a calculator. Let me help you understand something, how God will do. Because he'll bless to where the cup running over. So the reason why this come about is because people is reaching out, and I can't coach everybody. And then some people say, Tony, you know a coach in New York? Tony, you know a coach in LA? I'm like, no, I don't. So I say, I need to make a site to bring all coaches together, so that they could be on here, and I could say, look, go to this site. Tony, you coach on finances, budgeting? No, I don't. Go to mymentor.life. Tony, you coach on herpes? No, I don't. Go to mymentor.life. Tony, can you help a mother who raising autistic children? No, I can't. Go to mymentor.life. See, everything on there. But now listen, if I get 1.5 million eyeballs a month on YouTube, that's $15,000 in marketing right there that it will cost for me to get 15 million impressions through Facebook marketing. $15,000. When that's what it was years ago. I don't know what it costs now. It could be more than that. Okay. If I do a video from this office, a video a day, let's say I do 5 a week times 4, that's 20 a week. For this being on the wall in a video, the minimum I would charge a company is $5,000. So 5,000 times 25, no, times 20. 5,000 times 20. Somebody already did the math. I did too. That's $100,000. If my mentor.life was a company that had to pay me, they would be paying me $115,000 a month. So what I could take and say is, hey coaches, we got 700 coaches. 115,000 divided by 700. Okay, coaches, your monthly fee to be on the site is $164. And that would be a fair charge. That would be a fair charge. It's companies out there that's charging that. And that's not taking any of their profit. It's companies out there making way more than that, because when you make profit, they getting a piece of it. This site costs $20 a month. $20 a month. So look at what kind of discount is that. You see what I'm saying? But see, God gave me this not to get rich, but to be effective. Not to get rich, but to be effective. God gave me this right here. So I need you to understand that I don't have a college degree. I don't have a mentor. I found a guy that I feel like could probably teach me a few things. And I reached out to him. And he in Charlotte, North Carolina. And I'm going to fly to Charlotte, North Carolina. And hopefully he can, show me a few things. And he's a Puerto Rican. And he do business in an industry that's similar to some of the businesses I'm starting. Some of the other business I'm starting in the tech world kind of. And some of his stuff worth billions of dollars. And so I feel like I can learn from him. Hopefully the meeting go through and I get to talk to him. But up until this day, I have never had what you have just through this channel alone. I have never had a mentor. I have never had somebody with an online academy. I don't know anybody with an online academy that has affordable courses in the stuff I want to learn. I don't know anybody. You see what I'm saying? So if I could do this because I depended on God, and see, this is the thing, this is the way God works. God ain't never come to me in the clouds. God ain't never come to me, Tony, my son, listen to me. Okay, here is the play. God never came to me like that. I'm laying in the bed, on my back, looking at the ceiling, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning in stillness, and saying, Lord, I need you. Lord, I need you. Lord, I got to take care of my family. But Lord, you know it's a million ways I can take care of my family. But I don't want to take care of my family just any kind of way, Lord. It got to be purposeful. I got to serve a purpose, Lord. Do you know the company, and I ain't condoning this company, I ain't stamping this company. Do you know the company FES, the financial something company? I don't know if it's financial education services. They do credit repair. This is a marketing company, a multi-level marketing company. Do you know I have clients in that company that earn over $500,000 a month? Do you know that? And do you know them clients that earn that money come from nothing? Some of them come from another country, came into America with no paperwork, and then got citizenship and making multiple millions a year through a credit repair company. Do you know they have recruited me from every angle? Do you know they have come to me from every angle for me to come in that company because I have an audience and I could bring all of y'all into that audience, and I don't do that? I don't do that because I don't want to look any kind of way. I don't want to do any kind of thing. I want to be on purpose with God. I don't want to be in any kind of thing. The other company, TLC, or whatever it's called, what sell the NutriBurst, whichever one sell the NutriBurst, they done recruited me. And in the past, before I identified my purpose, I tried Body by Vi. Remember Body by V or Body by Vi? The supplements. I did prepaid legal. So I tried those two. Body by Vi cost me $500 to sign up. I never marketed or promoted because the shakes made me break out. I broke out in hives. So I couldn't promote that with no good conscience. I think I gave my mama some shakes and it had her on the toilet, stomach hurting. And so I never promoted that. Prepaid legal, I made $199 because I had my friend sign up, my daddy sign up, my wife sign up, and somebody else sign up. So just me signing them up, they never made $1, they never made a dime, they never marketed, they never promoted, they signed up on the strength of me, and I got one check for $199. So I don't believe in doing business like that. I don't believe in just getting paid off of recruiting people on an opportunity. I don't believe in it at this stage of my life because it don't make sense to me. If it one day it may make sense to me. But you see what I'm saying? It's a million ways. I know for a fact that if my clients could make $500,000, and listen to me, I got more than one client in these companies, these different multi-level marketing companies that's making more than $500,000 a month, and in different companies. And guess what? I done put clients and mentees into the companies. Because for them in their stage of their life where they at, it don't go against what they trying to do or what they want to do and how they feel, their morals and their values. So I don't knock it. It just ain't for me. You see what I'm saying? So for me, it's not just about money. Of course, I need money and I want money. I don't love money. If I love money, I join one of the multi-level marketing and I market it to all of y'all. And then you ask yourself, well, if Tony, who I trust from YouTube, came to me with a proposition, with a company, like this company or that company, I probably would do it because I trust his word. That's why these companies, that's why they want people with established brand. Because the people who got into the company, they didn't have an established brand when they got into the company. But then they'll get people with established brand because them people have built trust with their audience. And then those people market it to their audience for money, and they can make hundreds of thousands a month. I done seen people with established followings join these companies and make millions. I'm not knocking them. I'm not saying something wrong with it. It just ain't for me. And so this what I'm trying to tell you though. The same way I created my mentor.life, and what I want to do, I think I'm gonna take this off of here and get it done smaller and put it right there. And then I'm gonna put Tony Gaston Academy logo right there. And then every other company I got, and put all the logos up here. Put everybody's logo up there. But for right now, I'm gonna leave that. But do you know we got coaches on my mentor.life that done got booked 30, 40, 50, 60 times in 1 month. That's what I mean by overflow. God blessed me to the point to where he put me in position to be a blessing to somebody else. I got a life coach certification course. People becoming life coaches and they adding a second stream of income. Some people turn it into a full-time business. Some people creating their own life coach certification from my life coach certification and making a full-time living. Because anybody could create a life coach certification. Anybody could create one. Now, what I advise is that you build some success for yourself first. But anybody could create one. But guess what though? Ain't nothing wrong with creating one. Even if you ain't got all the success in the world. If you got kids to feed. I can't knock nobody who feeding their kids. I can't knock nobody who feeding their kids legally. Honestly, I can't knock nobody who feeding their kids illegally. If that's all they know. If that's all they know, I can't knock them. Now, if you know better, do better. If you know better, do better. But listen to me. It's time out for excuses. You got to make it happen. You got to stop feeling sorry for yourself. You got to stop crying and worrying and stressing. And you got to get on your grind. And you got to understand seasons. You got to understand seasons. Like right now, okay? Right now. You know, I can't even really talk to you, man. Can't even really talk to you, my sister, my brother. Because the truth too real. The truth too real. The truth too real. Because we all feel sorry for ourselves. We all feel sorry for ourselves. I can feel sorry for myself. I'm sitting here and I'm working and I'm serving people all day and I'm doing all this and I'm like, man, I just want to go on a vacation, man. I just want to go here, man. I just want to go there. Man, I can't do nothing, man. Lord done blessed me to where now we could just up and fly to North Carolina. We could just up and fly to Texas. We could just, up and, spend $1,500, spend $2,500 and just go to let's just hop on a plane, go to this other state, go to the most famous barbecue restaurant in that state, hit that barbecue, boom, get back on the plane, come back. Man, we can't even do that because our sons got soccer 7 days a week. Our sons literally have soccer right now 7 days a week. We used to get Fridays off. My 7-year-old now, his coach has added a practice tonight from 6 to 8 on a Friday night for a 7-year-old. But guess what? I got to sacrifice and I can't get up and go nowhere and get no escape from my reality because I chose to bring kids into the world. And that is, I'm looking at the wrong part of the camera. Y'all forgive me. And that is their ministry. Soccer and their other activities, cross country. So tonight, T gets off. T probably may have practice after school. I don't know, soccer practice. But he may get tonight off. But Tayden got soccer practice. In the morning at 8 a.m., Tayden has a cross country meet. They running 1.2 miles. He's 7 years old, having his first cross country meet tomorrow. I don't even know if he could run a 1.2 miles. After Tayden cross country meet, my oldest son is trying out for the Olympic Development Program, the soccer. It's the program that where they pull up the kids for the Olympics one day, for the national team one day. He got tryouts for that from, I think, 11 to 1 or 11 to 2, an hour to an hour and a half away. And then they'll be done. And I get to go to a college football game tomorrow, 7 p.m. But my dreams of being able to just pop up and boom, Friday, go to New York, hit a cool restaurant, and then come back home, I can't do that for 25 years. 18 years with my oldest, and then I got another 7 because my youngest is 7 years younger. Got another 7 with him for 25 years. My life got to be locked down, and I got to be steady and consistent. I can't cry and complain about that. Because guess what? Ain't nobody pushed me into the bed. Now, if you got pushed into the bed, you got a right to cry. You got a right to cry. But even then, if God let you live through it, he done gave you what you need to do it. So guess what? I can't cry about that. And I just was talking to a family member. And after this video, I'm finna send her a message. I'm finna tell her something. See, now suicide is the escape. And now we do stuff as adults. And we put ourselves in a situation. And then when the situation is too hard, we suicidal. So listen to me. For those of you without kids, be very careful who you have kids with. Be very careful when you have kids. Because there was a young lady who just took her life. Now, here's the thing about mental health. Is we all have mental health problems. We all have mental health problems. One day, I was in an argument with my girlfriend. And to make her feel bad, I drove 40 miles an hour and hit a telephone pole on the passenger side. I had no intent of dying, but I called myself stressed. Called myself stressed and upset. Guess what? I could have died. You see what I'm saying? So the young lady who took her life, she crossed over and she ran head on into a truck. She could have lived. Some people live. She died, unfortunately. But that's a split-second decision. So sometimes we think about it. We'll think about it so much and we'll feed into it so much. And it's a split second. We do it and there's no coming back from it. A lot of times, it's no coming back from it. There's countless people who have tried to commit suicide and it didn't go through. It didn't work. It didn't happen for them. And I say that to say, we have to be, for those of you who you're not in a situation that's stressful yet, look at what's driving people to their stressful points. And be very, very diligent. Be very mindful before you put yourself in that same situation. Because now there's some people who weaponize that, who weaponize suicide. And they say, well, if I don't get to go to a concert, then I'm going to take my life. if I don't get to go on vacation, I'm going to take my life. And that's the thing. There's seasons of sacrifice. There's seasons where there can be no fun in that season. There's seasons of 40 days, 40 nights in the wilderness eating locusts and honey. There's seasons of that. There's seasons of being on a boat in a flood, watching death all around you. But you can really only see it in your mind because you can't see out the boat. There are seasons of losing your house, losing your car, losing your cattle, your 1,000 cattle on a hill, losing your 1,000 mules, losing your spouse, losing your kids, physically or figuratively. Losing. There are seasons of loss. That's life. That's life. We cannot run from the pain. You got to run through it. You got to run through it. Because on the other side of it, it's a double portion. On the other side of it is where the blessings reside. No matter how bad it feels, it's never worth ending your life over. Because the pain is only temporary. God's glory lasts forever. The work you do for his glory lasts forever. The pain is temporary. Because guess what? Even if the pain will last you for the rest of your life, that pain gonna naturally transition you from this life to eternity. So make sure your heart and mind is right. Make sure your salvation is secure. And then still, you don't have to worry about what the future holds. Everything is temporary. So you know what I stopped doing? I stopped worrying. And now I don't condone everything this brother do or say or how his life turned out. But I give credit what credit is due. And the man I heard say this was Pastor Jamal Bryant. He had his sermons on podcasts years ago. And I was listening to one and he said, if you know in the end, everything is going to be okay, then why do you worry in the midst? And what he was preaching on is how everything turned out okay for Job. Everything turned out okay for Noah. Everything turned out okay for the children of Israel, or that was delivered by Moses from Egypt. If that was the children of Israel, y'all forgive me if that was children of somebody else now. Everything turned out okay. And what he was and what I started to think about when I heard that, I looked back and I thought about that time that I had an eviction notice on my apartment. I thought about the time I had a repossession notice for my car. I thought about the time that my accounts was in the negative. I thought about the time that I had a car repossessed. I thought about the time when I had to sell stuff. Sell my wife's purses, some of her purses. Sell my cars. I thought about the time where I had to lose it all. I thought about the time where I had to rob Peter to pay Paul. I thought about the time where I made I made choices that was against my integrity just to have some money. I thought about the times. And I realized, Tony, God brought you through every one of those trials. God brought you through every one of those tests. So let me ask you something, Tony. So while you being pruned and weeded and prodded and tested right now, What is the lesson? Mm. Did God do it to you? Or did you do it to yourself? Mm. Did I want to keep up with the Joneses? Could I not? Did I want instant gratification? Did I want to do the most, do too much for my wife, for my friend, or my family that they didn't ask for, that they didn't require, that they didn't need, but I did it for my own ego, to feel like a boss, to look like a boss? So did I put myself in financial hardship because I wanted to eat out, because I wanted to vacation on a higher level, because I wanted to live on a higher level, because I wanted to have some fun, because I wanted to live? That's how I tease my sister all the time. I got to live. Because I got to live. I got to live too. I was like, all right now. Well, don't come asking me for nothing. She got to live. And because I be getting on her. And I'm finna get on after this video. Because she got 3 kids. It's like, listen, this ain't the time for living. As grown folks, we should have thought about living before we popped them kids out. As for men, before we squirted them out. The women had to really do all the hard work. We should have thought about living before we got on our bike. We should have thought about living then. But now we have kids and then we want to be scrapped. Oh, I can't do that. I can't go to where I can't do that. We should have thought about that. This your life. Congratulations. You see what I'm saying? We got to stop feeling sorry for ourselves. And guess what? As I think about it, y'all forgive me for this, but when I think about it, I'm like, hold on now. God ain't took me through nothing. Everything I done went through, I put myself through it. When I look at it, I'm like, God ain't, me personally, now God might have allowed you to go through something. And so this ain't talking to you. This different. But even if he allowed you to go through something, he brought you through it. You okay. So the next time you go through something, if you already know that you've been brought through before, then why worry in the middle? And when I heard that, that changed my life. So even when I make a mistake, I look back over every mistake I made and I see God brought me through. So even when I make a mistake, like right now, I hate to be transparent with y'all. Right now I'm helping a grown man who I know, and he told me he was going to be sleeping in his car. He asked me for $50 or $75. I gave him $500. Maybe I should have gave him exactly what he asked for. And instead of letting him sleep in his car, I booked the Airbnb. It cost $800 for the week, for 1 week. Then I told him I would try to book him an Airbnb every week. But as I think about this thing, he is a grown, able-bodied man. Nothing is wrong with him. And he work a job. And he get paid. He waiting on his next check. And so, I don't know, and he didn't ask me to do that. He told me he couldn't even accept it. But I did it anyways. And he appreciated it. But then I went further to say, I'm going to try to do this more. And the Bible say, do not make promises Because you don't control tomorrow. And you don't have the power to make one hair on your head white or black. Let your yea be yea and your nay be nay. The Bible tells you to be slow to being insurance for a friend. If I'm quoting that right from Proverbs. Now, at the same time, Jesus does say, if somebody asks you for your shirt, give them your jacket too. If somebody asks you to walk a mile with them, walk 2 miles. Somebody need forgiveness, forgive them 70 times 70. It does say that. So guess what? When I give like that, God does take and bless me back. But so that's $1,300 I gave him. That is no blood relation to me. And then my sister write me about her needs, and I ain't got it for her. So maybe I put myself in a bind. But when I look back and I see all the bad financial decisions I've made, I see that God still showed up and showed out and made a way. That he blessed me in another way. And I'm sure whoever he used to bless me, he also used somebody else or something or some way to bless them. And it goes around. Like they say, what goes around comes around. You reap what you sow. But see, now listen to me. This is something that I see. So when I really think about this thing, and I want you to really think about this. What has God put you through or allowed you to go through? And what have you put yourself through? When I think about that, I'm like, whoa, Tony, all your problems you created by making promises you can't keep, by trying to help too many people, by trying to help people who don't want help, by helping people who don't appreciate it, by giving from ego instead of from heart, by giving from a disgruntled heart instead of a glad heart. Because see, I give a whole lot from a glad heart, but then I also give from a disgruntled heart. And that's sowing your seed, that's throwing your seed on stony ground. It can't take root and produce nothing. If somebody asks you for something and you give it to them with a frown on your face, it don't have to be a literal frown, but you unhappy about this gift you about to give them, it's null and void. You better off not giving it. Because that means it's not supposed to be gave if you can't give it with a glad heart. The Bible says God loves a cheerful giver, not a disgruntled giver. And when you give as a cheerful giver, it'll be given back. It'll come back to you, be pressed down, shaken together, and running over. This right here is running over. This running over. Tony Gaskins Academy is running over. And I give, and people will take. They will receive now. It's going to come back to you. But they don't be lying. God will send it another way. So listen. I'm about to change my life in this video. What y'all got to realize, some of these videos for me ain't for you. It's for me and I'm sharing it with you. Now, if it's about a toxic relationship, they ain't got nothing to do with me. But some of the relationship videos talking to me too. So listen to me. I'm about to change my life. I'm about to change my life. And I'm finna be going from glory to glory. I just yawned. I'm that tired. I'm up here talking to talk that much. I done got tired. Hour and 45 minutes. Do you realize how hard it is to talk for an hour and 45 minutes? That can't be nothing but God. Without questions being asked, without a note card, that can't be nothing but God. So if you got here, put in the comments, Tony, I made it. Because I'm curious to see who got here. Because God had this for you. God had this for you. I don't know what it was, where it was, or what part of it, or it could have been none of it, but it just get your brain to working. God had this for you. Gave me the strength. I ain't even ate today. It's 12:43 p.m. I have eaten and drinking nothing. That's fasting. That's like a fast. You see what I'm saying? Serving on an empty stomach. That's a prime example that I did not mean to make or use. But I want to share that with you to say it's seasons for everything. You're going to go through a season of plenty, of bounty, and then you're going to go through a season of famine if God allows that. You may not. You may just go from feast to feast to feast at some point. But when he say, I've been young and I've been old, and never have I seen the righteous forsaken, nor their seed begging bread. That don't mean that the seed didn't have a famine. What it means is that God gave them the wisdom to store up from the feast, from the plentiful seasons for the famine. I'm talking to myself right now. I'm talking to myself right now. God said, listen, Tony. And my daddy told me that a long time ago. He said, Tony, sometimes God blessing you in the summer or the fall to get you through the winter. So don't spend every dime that God give you in the fall, because the winter you may make nothing. So now you went above and beyond out of greed, out of lust, out of ego. And that's what hurt you. Hey, this is Tony Gaskins. God bless you. We'll talk soon.